So here's a quick rundown on how to use the distance formula to solve for the length of a side. This is what we would think of as the long way. Your first step is going to be to get your 2 points and designate one as point 1. This point K is what I'm going to call point 1, and point N is what we'll call point 2. So that means we have X1 and Y1, and then X2 and Y2 in blue and red there. And these are the numbers that are going to end up going in our distance formula. Okay, so I'm going to write down x2, which you can see is negative 3, minus x1, which is negative 1. And I'm going to make sure I put my squared in there. Then I'm going to have negative 2 minus negative 1. Okay, there's our squared. And remember, this is all still the square root of. So to figure this out, we're going to need to switch over to a calculator, because we're going to have to do the math inside the parentheses first if you think back to order of operations. So here's a calculator that has all the buttons you're going to need. Remember, you can do the same. I'll show you a different way. If you don't have a calculator like this, I'll show you a way to do it on your laptop. I'm going to do these problems, okay, that were under my parentheses. You can see I have negative 3 minus 1, then I have negative 2 minus 1. Okay, so that's going to give me negative 2 and negative 3. Then I'm going to take each of those squared. So negative 2 squared, notice that I have my parentheses, is going to be 4. And negative 3 squared, again I need to use parentheses, is going to be 9. Okay? If I don't use parentheses, I'm going to get the wrong answer. So this is what it would look like. I have my numbers here. Remember, negative 3 minus negative 1 got us that negative 2. And then we squared it. Then you add together what you have under your square root sign. So 4 plus 9 is going to equal the square root of 13, which you need to plug into your calculator, and that's going to be 3.6. So if you need help with your calculator, you can open it on your Mac. Just type calculator in that magnifying glass. Make sure you set it to scientific view if you want these options. You can also use Desmos. It's an online calculator. And it's cool because it'll let you set up the entire problem. So if you have your points, here I messed up here. If you have your points, you can use the square root symbol. As long as you carefully use parentheses, you could set up the entire distance formula and just hit enter and find the answer. So make sure you have your parentheses in the right spot. You're going to have your quantities squared. You're going to say plus whatever. And then that'll give you the final answer just like that. So that's a shortcut that you might want to take advantage of. There's also, don't forget, the Pythagorean shortcut. If you can plot your points and end up drawing a right triangle, so a triangle that has a right angle in it, then you can just do a squared plus b squared to get your answer for the length of c. Here's a quick example. So if one side length is 1 and the other is 8, you would just take 8 squared plus 1 squared, which would become 64 plus 1. That's 65. The square root of 65 is 8.1. That's very similar to the problem we worked in class today.